Hi, welcome back to my regular listeners out there, and welcome to anyone who is just now joining my show. My name is Elizabeth Ann Cunningham. I am the host of Love Dripping from the Walls podcast. I'm a love coach, and my podcast is all about how love can show up in the real world because it's not always sunshine, hearts, and rainbows. This episode is to introduce the topic of season 4. Season 4, which is all about the intersectionality of race and LGBTQ and people's as lived experiences living as a Black, Indigenous, or person of color who is also in the LGBTQ community. This episode is also to introduce my co-host for the season, Jami Smith. So stick around to hear more and hear all about Jami and this upcoming season. Before we get into it, though, I wanted to make an exciting announcement. Love Dripping from the Walls has merch. Oh my gosh, that's right. You can now buy Love Dripping from the Walls t-shirts, hats, mugs, hoodies, and more. Our merch store is called Cosa Cuore. Cosa Cuore means things of the heart in Italian. It is a company that I co-founded as another way for people to express their love in the world. We give 20% of our profits to different organizations, and this season we are giving to Autism Compassion Africa. You can find out more about Autism Compassion Africa in our show notes. You can also scroll down and go to our store and purchase your own love merch and to give back to an amazing organization. As always, if you like this content, please subscribe, rate, or review. Much love to you all and enjoy the show. Okay.
Yep, we are here.
We're here. Yep. All right, Jami, I am so excited about this season. So just to give a quick what we are doing on this pre-episode of the season is it's just me and you. We're just talking about the upcoming season, what we're excited about, what we want to learn and get out of it, why we're doing it in the first place. And also to be able to introduce you as my co-host. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you as my co-host. And that's what I'm going to do first. So for those of you who are listening or watching, we're just going to talk about what's coming up. What is coming up on season 4 of Love Dripping from the Walls? And who the heck is Jami Smith? All right, so who Jami Smith is. So first of all, Jami, I just want to thank you so much for being on this season. And Jami, first and foremost, is just a great friend of mine, and that she agreed to do this, I'm just completely over the moon about. And so Jami was a staffer for Obama in 2008 and 2012, and for Clinton in 2016. Very active in the Washington State Democratic Party, the executive board of the King County Democrats, was on the was a precinct committee officer for the 37th Legislative Dems, DNC delegate representing the 9th Congressional District, and served on the board of Emerge Washington, which recruited women to run for office, and also ran for Renton City Council yourself. So you ran for Renton City Council. That's amazing. And so, and also I could just go on and on and on and on about, you know, who you are and what you do and like just how impressive and badass you are. And so again, like I said to, you know, a couple minutes ago, I'm just that you said yes to being my co-host for this season. I am just freaking over the moon about. So thank you for being here.
Oh, girl. Okay. So when you asked me to do this, I was so excited, and thank you so much for thinking of me. These are some really meaty and important topics, especially for this day and age, as we start thinking about the intersection of of racial justice and LGBTQ, solidarity and and freedoms and things like that. And just the fact that you have this platform and you're going to dedicate this season to it is huge. So I'm so thrilled to be a part of it. I'm so glad that you thought of me and that you asked me. So let's do this.
Yes, awesome. Well, I'll share why I wanted to do this season, and then I would love to hear from you, you know, why you said that you wanted to be a part of it. Like, not just, you know, for the reasons that you just gave, but I know that there's some personal reasons that you want to be a part of it as well. So why I decided to have this season is actually spurred from the family episode that I had in season 2. And inside of the family episode of season 2, we talked about, you know, it was me and 3 other people who are also white, and we were talking about how to have hard conversations with family members around current events, like the racial tension that's going on and like the racial justice movement that's been going on for forever, but was, you know, had a surge after the murder of George Floyd. And also having conversations as white people who have people in our family who support our current president, and we happen to not support our current president, you know. And so how do we have these conversations? And one of the things that came up in making that episode is gaining other perspectives. And my great friend Paul Anthony Martinez, who is going to be on this season, I reached out to him because he had wanted to be a part of the episode. And I was like, hey, I know that you couldn't be a part of this particular episode because it like the timing didn't work out for him. But hey, like, you are a person of color, you're also in the LGBTQ community, and that is who I want to highlight. Like, I want to give people, the whole point of my podcast is to give people a voice and to share about experiences that we don't necessarily just talk about. And inside of sharing our experiences, what we can get is have other people be heard, you know, and have other people be like, oh, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not the only one that deals with that. And also that people that don't have those experiences, that there's a level of education and awareness and even some like a place to take action from. And that in all of that, and people being heard, and that in people being aware that there's a level of connectedness that we don't currently have. And so that's the why for me behind the season. And then you said yes, and and so what is I'm just not going to get over it. I'm not going to get over that you said yes. I'm not going to get over it.
Goodness. I love it when you do that. Yeah, my why for this is that for a personal reason, we always talk about, especially in this day and age, like, if we talk about the civil rights movement or we talk about the women's rights movement, Stonewall and the gay rights movement, we always like, we're always like, hey, if I was there, I totally would have been out there marching and I would have been out there fighting and things like that. And somebody said this, I think it was Tiffany Cross on MSNBC one day. She said, if you ever wondered what you would be doing in the middle of the civil rights movement or the gay rights movement or the women's rights movement, what you're doing right now is what that would be. And at that particular point, I was sitting on the bed watching MSNBC, stuffing like a whole burrito in my mouth. And so it was like, this is not what I want to be doing, at this point in history. This is not how I want history to remember me. Now, I've been pretty politically active, but one of the things that really is my passion is having these hard conversations and creating those safe spaces and those safe environments to have those crucial hard conversations. And even if it turns out to be me doing some emotional labor, or other people of color doing some emotional labor, having those conversations is incredibly important, and being able to have those conversations while you're saying, like, while you're trying to balance your own visceral reaction to what you might be hearing is a challenge. And in my mind and in my heart, that feels like the next phase of existence for humanity and for me, just, personally.
Yeah.
So this is like an opportunity to kind of give back, to all of the things that I have been given in my life, and an opportunity to, to listen and to be in the listening of other people as human beings. And so that's kind of that's why I was so excited. So I'm just like, I can ramble on and on and on and on about. But but the cool thing is that we have some really cool people that we talk to, who are willing to be authentic and who are willing to be super genuine about their experiences, how it made them feel. And I think that's going to be that's going to be huge for your audience as well as anybody else who might come across this. So this is
Yeah.
our little mark in history, and I'm super proud to be part of it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for creating that. And, there's a couple things is like, well, first, like, for those of you who are listening via podcast,
Mhm.
Jami, you are a Black woman and you also identify in the LGBTQ community as well.
Mhm.
And that, this is a really personal this is something that's really personal that you deal with personally, right? Like it's not just that it's a really great thing to talk about and that it's a really great and it because it is
Yeah.
and it's also very very important conversations to have as well, and also that it like directly affects you personally in your everyday lived experience. And I just wanted to also highlight that the emotional labor that you talked about, right? And so for everybody who is listening who might not have like wants to know more but also doesn't want to put the impetus on all of their friends of color
Mhm.
or friends in the LGBTQ world, that this is also a resource
Mhm.
for them, because the people who have said yes to being here, you and all of our wonderful people who we're going to talk to, throughout the season, all of the people who said yes to being here are, here because they're willing to do that and they want to contribute that and they want to contribute their stories,
Mhm.
and that they're doing so, for the same reasons that we're here, right? So that other people that have their same experience are heard,
Mhm.
and so that other people who don't have their experience have an access
Mhm.
to, what that experience is,
Yeah,
right? And so,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, I think even if, the conversations that we have, and Elizabeth, I totally like give you all the props in the world for having this platform and being willing to share it with us for these conversations. If anything that we say, spurs a person in your audience to go look something up, or to ask or to ask a question of themselves, I feel like we've done quite a bit. If we even just get that much, because a lot of times people just don't come out of their own experience enough. And
Mhm.
so, if we just have somebody who's just dipping a toe out, then I think that we've actually done quite a bit of good, But this is also not just a kvetch session, or just a
Right.
just a bitch session. What we want to do is just, and this is one of the reasons why I love you, is we really want to be able to center these voices. We really want to be able to, in the space that they have with us, create that environment where they can be as silly and as irreverent and as, as queer, as Black, as Asian, as Latino, as they want to be. Elizabeth can be as white as you want to be, that sort of thing. And you know and hopefully model this for other folks, for folks in your audience, to create these environments for, their themselves and their families and their friends and things like that, where, we can have conversations and we can mess up, we can ask for forgiveness, and we can do better, and I think that's what's really going to be the legacy of this season, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for bringing that up because yeah, I mean this season, that one of the things that I'm really excited about this season is that people really are going to share, like it isn't just like a, as you said, a kvetching session, right? It's just like complaining and just being like, oh, I wish that white people would do this and I wish that straight people would do that and
Right.
blah, 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 blah. Like it really is like talking about like this is how I experience the world, this is how people treat me, this is how, this is like there's just I'm so looking forward to the vulnerability of the people in this season and really being able to be like, this is what it's like to be me. This is my experience of the world. And just for myself, I like selfishly, I always have I'm a human, I have selfish motives, like I definitely like everything that I've said has been true so far. And there's like the part of the motive for me of this is honestly because I am an awkward white person. Like, I am like, I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. And for me, having conversations about race is fucking weird. Like it's weird for me to have like, I don't do it right. I don't, I do mess things up. Like I do like they like that like this is an opportunity for me in this season to like actually have the knowledge and the wherewithal in myself to even know like where I'm positioned, right? Because when you don't know when you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to even like find a place to stand to start learning, right? And to start taking those actions. And so I also hope that other white people like me who are listening, who will also be able to discover that don't know that they don't know, so that they have a place to stand and be like, oh, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, and being able to take action from there and really being able to discover like, oh wow, like I actually really do say racist things sometimes and I don't know that I'm doing that. Right? Like I have no idea. Like even in some of the conversations that we've had already, there's been some like words that have come up where I'm just like, oh shit, like I had no idea that that was a racist thing to say because I was brought up in white middle class America and I had no idea. And so I really hope that people, give like have breathing room for themselves inside of what there is for them to learn. And giving themselves the space to be like, wow, I've been doing this thing and that I now learned that that thing is harmful, and making the choice to stop doing it without guilt, like without being, without beating yourself up, without like, without making a big deal of it, without anything like that, but being like, oh wow, like light bulb moment, I've been using this word for my whole life and that's really offensive and I didn't know that. I'm going to stop using that word, right? Like even just small things like that, where, and I think that that's like what you were pointing to is like, even if it's just something like that, like that it's worth it. Like it's worth the listening and the knowledge to like have that way to bring us closer together when you uncover what you don't know that you don't know about race and about like LGBTQ.
Exactly. And it's not, and it's not, and I'm so glad you said that about not being guilty, because this is not about white or straight guilt, or anything like that. It's not about that at all. It's more just kind of like, we want everybody to feel proud of themselves, it's like, and there's nothing wrong with being white. There's nothing wrong with being straight. We joke, but there's really nothing wrong with being straight,
But, even though you're probably doing it wrong because being gay is way better, but whatever. I
was thinking that. You said I was thinking that.
Just kidding. Just kidding. No straight guilt. No straight guilt. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's not about that. It's just kind of like, look, we want to like you. Just, realize that sometimes you say stuff that's kind of like, and if that potential gay friend does not speak to you again, and you're wondering why they ghosted you, it might have been something you said, it might have been something you did, and they either weren't willing to do that labor to educate you, or they just didn't want to be bothered. And hey, we're here to help you. We're here to talk about it. And at the same time, this provides people an opportunity to step outside of their own bubble, and hear some things that they probably have never heard. And that's one of the things that I feel like we'll get to this in the season, but and I won't say this very often, but I think white people and straight people have been done a disservice as well, in some respects, in that the history books do not fully account for the achievements of Native Americans, the achievement of Asian Americans, the achievements of Black Americans, the achievements of Latino Americans. And as a result, you kind of didn't have a chance. There's no way you're going to know, about some of these things, or about the context behind a lot of these things, because that's the way it was set up. So, a lot of folks that I know that are reading like The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, or Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper, or even White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, which I have a whole mouthful to say about that. But people are reading books that they never had to read before, right? Because they're trying to get educated, and that is a huge step in the right direction, into all of us being able to to coexist together and to have fun doing it too, because it's not always just like, no, I can't say what I want to say, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, you bring up a great point, and it's something that I've talked with my partner, and some of the other people that I know, and like my friend group, and things like that, where it's just like, where are we ostracizing people? Because
Yep.
I think that we do have, like, we do have this culture of guilt,
Yeah.
where it's like, you're the bad, especially like with white hetero men,
Yep.
where like, it's all
Hmm.
your fault, you suck,
Yeah.
all of that. And I mean, you can look at like the people who are in power, and the people who have made rules, and like how we live our society is a lot based off of what white, cis
Hmm.
hetero men have done. You're right.
Yep.
But inside of this conversation of guilt, it's that we're actually more othering
Yep.
ourselves, right? Like that we're so angry at white cis hetero men
Hmm.
that now, like, they're, uh, like, without like going down that rabbit hole, it's
Right.
like that othering and
Yep.
like that distancing is
Hmm.
only making it worse. It's like, if
Yeah.
you tell someone that it's like, this is your fault, and they haven't done anything,
Mhm.
then they're like, well, fuck you,
Right.
I'm gonna join my other white cis men and be a big fuck you to everybody else, because you're saying that I've done something that I haven't done, and it just, it others. And so,
Right.
like, so yeah, so this is not like, this is not a guilt trip for anyone, and we are gonna have so much fun this season too. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yes, these are heavy topics, and yes, we are going to get into like, this is like the, how Black, Indigenous, people of color,
Hmm.
it also, who are also LGBTQ, these are the struggles,
Hmm.
and like, this is the real, like, as lived life that's like
Hmm.
not always pretty, and
Yeah.
sometimes very scary and enraging. And also, we're gonna have fun this season as well. And like, my goal is not to, exactly, like, not to guilt trip anyone
Hmm.
and be like, see how bad you've made it for us, like, see,
See?
or you rather, because I am also white. um But like this this season is not to beat myself up. This season is not to beat up other white people or any
Right.
straight people who are listening to it. You
Mhm.
know, this season is to talk about the as lived experience of Black, Indigenous people of color who are also LGBTQ,
Mhm.
so that people can be heard, so
Yep.
that people can be aware, and so
Yep.
that we can all be connected inside of that,
Yep.
right? And I also like really hope that, I definitely hope that people like read some books and change
Mhm.
their language and do all of that. But I also really hope that one of the things that happens out of this season is that people take an action outside of joining a book club.
Mhm.
I really hope
Agreed.
there was a meme that I saw that
Mhm.
was like, whenever like shit goes down with race, or that white people join a book club and create a 2K, like the 5K like runs and stuff. And I had literally like the
Uh-huh.
same day that I saw that meme, I was invited to a book club and a
Oh
5K
no,
run. Like the same. I was like, oh, it's so true. Oh no.
it's so
Like, it's
true.
so true.
Oh,
And I'm like, I really want that to, I mean, not that it's a bad action. Like, it's not a bad action. Again, it's not about guilt, but it's like, can we do something else? Like, can we storm City Hall? Can but what is the action that you see? Like, that's one of the things that I want people to get out of the season is
yeah,
what is the action that you see would
mhm,
make the biggest difference? What is
absolutely.
that? Is that joining the protest? Is that voting?
Mhm,
Is that like running for city council? Is that, you have a friend who is a person of color or LGBTQ or something like that, and they've been talking about running for office, and now like
mhm.
you want to be like, yo, dude, like do the thing.
Right.
Yo, dude, yo, girl, yo, person,
Mhm.
whatever their gender may be.
Yep.
Be like, hey, I want you to run for office. Like, you've been talking about it for 3
Mhm.
years. I
Yep.
want you to do it, and I want to support you. And how can I support you in doing that?
Right.
Like
Right.
what, like, but what is that action that you're
Mhm.
going to take?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what questions are you going to ask, of
Mhm.
yourself and of others? What are the things that you want to learn more about?
Yeah.
And, hopefully we spark that kind of, fire to want to know more,
Mhm.
because a lot of times things happen because we don't know, you know,
Yeah.
and as my father would say, it's like when you know better, you do better. So there's an opportunity to know better so that you can do better, and
Yeah.
to get that sense of community, because
Yeah.
it gets so much better when you're able to be open about it. And so
Yeah.
that's what I hope this season is a gift to folks to kind of open themselves up to the awesome new friends they could make, the awesome new
Mhm.
experiences they can have, and the awesome new things they can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's something that I've absolutely noticed, and have started to, take action inside of for myself is the
Mhm.
people that I know,
Yep.
because I really noticed, especially in creating this podcast,
Hmm.
I really noticed how the people that I know are really just by circumstance,
Hmm.
you know? Like, we met through a course that we did together,
Yep.
several years ago, right? And so it's just like the people that I know are really through circumstance.
Hmm.
And given how I grew up, my
Hmm.
circumstances often put me in places with majority white people.
Yep.
And so a majority of the people that I know and associate with on a regular basis are white.
Hmm.
And I honestly didn't notice that before starting to create this podcast. I'm like, shit, I know a lot of white people. And like, I was just like it's not surprising, but it just wasn't something that really like occurred to me before. I wasn't like, oh, that's surprising. It was just like, oh, dang, like I've never looked there before.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dang, I should be really more intentional about like the people that I know. And actually through the process of creating this podcast, I've actually created a lot more like friends and
Hmm.
contacts and people that I'm like proactively creating, you know, these people that I know, like not to like
Yeah.
collect people. It's not like, oh, I need to collect more brown people that I know.
Right, right.
Like what, like that's racist.
Yeah.
If you are talking to someone specifically because you want more black and brown friends,
You do not want to do that.
now that is not, that's not, it's not.
It's not, and on top of that, your quality quotient, is not going to be good because
Right.
not all Black folks are just, well, we'll talk about this, not a monolith, but some Black folks are different. Let's just say brown folks. Like you have your Cornel West, and then you have Daniel Cameron, the AG from Kentucky. So it's like not
Yeah,
all the skin, not all your skin folk is your kin folk. Let's just say that.
but it's just like with anybody, you know, like it's literally, you know, you when you're meeting people,
Yeah.
it really is like connecting with those people. And like for me, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna go find more, you know, like whatever. But
Right.
like for me, it was just like, oh, like how am I being really it was a question. It was like, how am I
Yeah.
being really intentional about the people that I have in my
Yeah.
life? And like if I say that I want to have this like, you know, life that has this abundance of people of, you know, different places and backgrounds and colors and whatever,
Yeah.
like how am I being proactive about that?
Right. How am
Right.
I attracting that into my life?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. Anyway, that was just like something that I got out of even creating this podcast.
I love it. I love it. Oh
Well,
man.
what else, Jamie? Anything else that you want the audience to know about the season? Anything else that you want to share that you're excited about?
Um,
Anything else?
I just love the conversations we're going to have. Like when you and I were brainstorming topics, I'm just like, this is gonna be so great. And I'm excited for them to hear it and to share it and to have big hairy arguments with people that they love and then make up and then, have dinner and go to sleep. Like, it's like I just want this to be like a really positive, way of that people can kind of that people can find their place in this, historic day and time, in this movement, in this transition of our society. If you're here in America, and in the transformation of folks around the world. So this is going to be great. I'm so excited. It's good.
So excited. I'm
Yeah.
just my cup is ready to be full.
Awesome.
Well,
Oh,
I love you so much, and again, thank you so much for being my co-host. I just am overjoyed. Like I had when I was asking, you know, when I was thinking of who I wanted to be my co-host, like you were like the first person that I thought of, and I was like, I really hope that Jamie says yes. Of course, I have other people that I can ask, and they're also awesome, but I really hope that Jamie says yes. And
my
so yeah.
my pleasure. When you said you were thinking of co-host, I was like, I don't. I hope she asked me because I don't want to be like, me, but
But at the same time, ooh, me.
So I'm excited. Thank you so much for this, and we're gonna have so much fun.
We're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna learn a lot. We're gonna have fun. There's gonna be tears and laughter and other emotions.
Yes, all of them, all the emotions.
All of the emotions. There might
Right.
be some singing and dancing and what's the pretending to have other voices.
Yes. Yes, we will do that.
Oh my God. Anyway, okay. I love you. Thank you. And for everyone who's listening, I hope that you enjoy the rest of the season. And please reach out to me at lovedrippingfromthewalls@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, whatever. We're all about growth here, growth and love on Love Dripping from the Walls. One of the ways that you have love dripping from the walls in your life is growth and having these uncomfortable conversations and being willing to like be human. That is how you have love dripping from the walls. And so whoever is listening who wants to reach out, please do so. Love you all so much.